Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning. Let me get this up and going there. And happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy to have you all here today.
Where are we? We're just rolling in here at the last second. It's time to do the morning show.
Jim looks at me as, because I get ready in the morning. I was spraying perfume. I smell good for y'all today, this morning. Mm-hmm. I was spraying some perfume and he's like, it's 8 o'clock, honey. Okay.
Time to go.
So happy Wednesday. It is the last morning show before December starts.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Friday will be what, the 2nd? Is today the 30th or 29th? Today's 30th.
Today's the 30th.
Yeah, so it's the last day of November.
It's the last day of November. So I'm not going to be the one or the person that says...
You sound like you are going to be.
You have 25 more days.
Oh. To buy me something?
To buy you something.
Okay.
I mean, we personally haven't even, it just hasn't even... I think we've talked about
We're
Christmas.
Still working on Thanksgiving leftovers.
We still are, because there is still... We're almost done. Mm-hmm. But we still are. So, yeah.
Yeah, so good morning. If you're listening in and we've got audio, you can hear us, or make sure we're not talking just to one another. So good morning,
I'm pretty
Bill.
sure that someone would have said, Tommy, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Yeah. Because when we ran in here, Jim's like, the console's not even on. So, but we're showered and smell good.
Yeah.
We're
ready for the day.
We're ready for the day. So I really don't have any announcements except for, what I just the last morning show before December. So,
morning, Matt.
Yeah, we're heading into the holiday. Where's
El Paso?
Probably. All right.
Nice.
So, welcome everybody. We had a, yesterday we did, we do these frequently, these planning, brainstorming, creative sessions. They usually last a few hours. And we thought, oh my gosh, it would be a really great addition to White Hat Wednesdays is to do some kind of a role play of a situation that might be happening within in a dealership, and how to communicate the things that are the straight lines for the dealership through that. And so this is just there's going to be a lot more associated with that, but we thought, this is
Tommy says stand by. That's what we're saying at the town hall. Stand by.
Stand by. So we thought last night that it's and I wrote it down, and at the beginning of our brainstorming session is to kind of talk about this, how to deal with an unhappy customer, because we had a coaching opportunity yesterday with a client to kind of talk about that, and we thought that it really would be valuable to be able to talk about.
Yeah, yesterday's coaching session with a client, they're a brand new dealer. To get them open, we started with strictly as is, and they've had some mechanical stuff right out of the gate. And so how to navigate that stuff, when the customer's unhappy. And in particular, I don't want to miss the chance to say that a big part of what we hope to do in talking about this White Hat way as it relates to customer service is we know that when we do business in the White Hat way, that there's a lot of stress relief that comes from that. So, we don't talk about that often enough, but we could hear a lot of stress and angst from the manager that we're working with yesterday. They're new to it. Although they have business experience, they were really feeling stressed and uncertain about what to do.
And to be, the part of the coaching, was it Monday? They had one vehicle, a situation with a vehicle. And then, Tuesday, she had another situation with a vehicle,
Mhm.
and they are pretty new. So this
Yeah, they
is
barely
this is
have
like
20 contracts on the road, and they got their, got 2 mechanical failures
yeah,
in a
and
matter of
so we thought,
few weeks.
this really is a great opportunity to just kind of talk about this. And so for those of you who've been in the business for a long time, it might be a really great refresher, get some ideas. For those of you who are new, it's like this, what we're talking about today is something that you might be able to put in your tool belt.
Yeah, and this is something we've touched on in the past in
Mhm.
maybe in a different way. So today, I would just say that, much of how this goes down with a customer
Mhm.
after delivery, and as we said before, the things that we talk about, we're going to talk mostly today about like an as is scenario. But if you think about what we're going to suggest in the context of the as is, it's really the same whether the customer has a warranty, and maybe we're talking about something that's not covered under the warranty, right?
Kind of,
Excluded
yeah. I mean,
item.
I think so. I think that when you have a warranty, it kind of, I mean, as is. I think, there's a lot of, this is just me outside perspective. As is there's, you still can step in and help.
Mhm.
A warranty has a few extra tools to be able to help, it's not gonna have potentially the same financial impact on the customer and
Okay.
on the dealer potential, and on the, if you're giving a loan or something. If you have reinsurance, that actually alleviates, from my perspective, even a little bit more. If it's like uh, uh, warranty and a service
Okay.
contract or something like that.
So, yeah, let's be
Mhm.
careful about that, because I think even if you have service contracts or you have
Mhm.
warranties, like there are going to be items that are not covered.
Yes, that's
And
true.
there's also, even though you have a warranty, and let's say it is a covered item, still doesn't help the customer get to work today. It covers the cost of
Yeah,
repairs, doesn't help the
yeah,
customer get to work today. So there's still the potential for unhappy customers. And also,
yes.
a lot of these warranties are short term. If it's a 90-day warranty and something
Mhm.
happens on day 93,
Yeah.
then we can have an unhappy customer. So I'm just saying,
Mhm.
even though you have those tools, you still have to navigate
Yeah.
this unhappy customer. So what I'm really saying is, the approach that we're going to recommend is really going to be beneficial in almost any of those scenarios, because it really is about, first and foremost, it's about transparency, it's about communication, it's about making sure that at the time of closing that
Mhm.
we have expressed as clearly as possible, everything we can, and that we create some degree of equity and authenticity with the customer, so that when there is a problem, that they know us at some level, so that our ability to work through that is greater. So when I say
Yeah.
know us, we hope they would know us on some personal level, like there's some personal connection. But when that hasn't happened, then we still would want to communicate so clearly from the dealership level and the finance company level,
Mhm.
that the customer has some knowledge of what's going to happen.
Okay.
They feel comfortable with who they're dealing with.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so scene.
Oh, she's going into role play. It's time for the
It's
acting.
time for, okay, so I am a single mom
Mhm.
of two. Um, work as in the
What do they
service
call this?
industry.
This context?
This
What
is
are they?
context.
Okay. All
Single
right.
mom of two, um, you know, uh, younger kids,
Okay.
work in the service industry, hard worker, so we're at closing
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to do the closing for it as
Please.
okay. Yeah. So
He doesn't know.
yeah.
It's like scene.
So I'm
Go.
going as yeah, she's the one who wanted to do the acting. What she said yesterday was,
I
we had
s-
this idea. She
oh,
had the idea, and I'm playing along. It's a
oh,
great
and
idea.
I had more ideas that they may see
I'm not
in
saying the
future
idea is
dates, but
wrong.
yeah,
I'm just saying it was her idea.
it was my idea.
So so scene.
Scene.
So mom of two. So thanks for coming in to do business with us. And I know you've chosen the car, and I know you took the opportunity to have the car checked out by an independent
Mhm.
mechanic, and you understand why that's important. We want you to feel comfortable with the car that you've chosen. We want you to feel like we didn't knowingly, send you home with anything that might be a problem. And so let's talk about what it looks like if you do have mechanical problems later, after you buy the car, because the as is thing means that any repairs after today will be your responsibility. They'll
Mhm.
be your financial responsibility. So that's true whether that's
Mhm.
2 hours or 2 days, 2 weeks. after delivery, this will be your financial responsibility. So before we sign these documents, are you comfortable with the car that you've chosen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and that just because we say that it's your financial responsibility doesn't mean that we won't help you. There's any number of ways that we can help you when you do experience mechanical problems, and that's likely to happen because you're buying a used car with some miles, and so most likely you're gonna face some mechanical problems. So when it breaks down, it's just important that you remember that there's not a lot of ways we can help you. Just remember it will be your financial responsibility.
Okay, cool.
Very good.
Where do I sign?
Yeah. So here's there's your document. Here's your as is, no warranty. And of course you're going to sign acknowledging that you got this mechanic's check. We've got that signed. So put that in the folder and then just sign your contract and off you go.
Okay. So we've closed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 weeks later,
Okay.
I'm on the phone talking to you,
Sure.
and it's like ring, 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 ring.
Welcome. Hey. Good morning.
I got up this morning to head to work, and my car won't start.
Oh shoot. Okay.
And like there's like all these engine lights on, and I need to get to work.
I understand. Yeah. So obviously, hopefully,
can
a
you
friend or
fix
somebody
it?
can. Well, no. Remember, the car was sold without any kind of warranty. So,
well, I just bought it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I know, but remember, it's also anything after delivery is going to be your responsibility. But let's see what we can do to help you. So what's
wait,
going on? You said it just won't start.
It won't start. So wait a second here. So you sold me a lemon.
Well, let's remember, there's no such thing as a lemon in a used car. When you got a used car that's as is, lemons are only about new cars. So I understand
have to get to work.
No, I get it, of course.
And I don't have you just, I mean, you took all the money I had saved
for your down payment.
For my down payment. I got to get to work, or I'm not going to be able to make a payment.
So do you have a friend or somebody that can help you? There's a couple of things we need to do here. We got to obviously help you get to work. Is there somebody that can help you get a ride to work or get you in there?
I'm supposed to be to work in a half an hour. How am I going to get to work? I mean, I can't. Isn't there something you can do to help me? I mean, geez.
Well, let's talk this through. How would you?
I mean, I could call my mom, but I mean, I can't. What am I going to do tomorrow? I mean, when I'm done with work, what am I going to do?
Well, we got to figure out what's going on with the car, right? So I can't know what to do without, getting some sort of assessment on the car. So why don't we?
But it won't start.
Okay. So I'm not a mechanic, and I know you're not a mechanic. We talked about that when you bought the car. So it's not surprising you don't have mechanical experience. You're not going to know how to solve it. And we're a finance company. I mean, we don't have mechanical experience either. So basically what we need to try to do is we need to first get an estimate on what it's going to take to fix it.
But it won't start. How am I going to get an estimate on it?
Well, we're going to have to figure out a way to get the car moved to someplace, but one thing at a time. Do you have some way to get to work today? Because
I can call my mom and see if she can come and pick me up. But,
okay. So you want to do that now? So I know you need to be to work in 30 minutes. If you want to stop and do that now, then make sure you got a ride to work and then call me back, because one of the things we're going to want to do is figure out how do we get it somewhere, somebody who can give an opinion on what it's going to take to fix it.
I mean, gosh, it's like 3 weeks to Christmas and I just gave you all my money.
No, I know it's a very frustrating thing, and maybe it'll turn out to be a simple thing. So let's don't assume it's a major repair.
Okay.
So let's it could be something simple. Why don't you call your mom?
Let me call my mom and I'll
make
call
sure
you right
get
back.
A ride. Call me right back. Okay.
Right.
So
just called right back.
Yeah.
Ring.
Okay. So let's do this. The car's as is without warranty, right? We can't do a loaner. You remember we talked about that, but we can try to give you some help here. One of the things I could do is are you able to cover the cost of getting the car towed? If we can tow it to a mechanic of your choice?
How much will that cost?
Just depends on the tow company. I mean, we can try to they're typically around $75, $100, whatever.
Really, I don't even, wow. It's coming out of money for Christmas, but I guess I can get it towed.
Okay.
But
so if you can cover the cost of getting it towed, what I would do is let's find a tow company that can get on it right away.
Okay.
We've got somebody who typically does towing for us, pretty reasonable. So I can save you some money on the tow probably. So we can call about getting that done, and then you'll just be responsible. In fact, what I can do is I can cover the cost of the tow, and you can just repay it to us. So we just need to figure out how soon could you repay it? Would it be better to do it out of your next paycheck, or you want to wait and do it after Christmas? What do we need to do there?
Well, if we could do it after Christmas, that would be best.
I'm-
And I mean, you'd really do that
That can
for
probably be
me?
worked out. The first thing we got to do those because
Okay.
neither one of us is going to know what to do until we know what's going on with the car. Look at her; she's in character. She's over here shedding tears. So so we neither one of us is going to know what to do until we find out what it's going to cost to fix it. We got to first find out what's wrong with it, what it's going to take to fix it, and just remember, it might not be anything expensive. It might be a simple thing.
Okay.
So let's get it towed and get it to somebody who will know what it's going to take to fix it. And so that's the first order of business.
Do I need to call? Do you want to call?
Well, we can call and help make arrangements on the tow. Since you need to get to work, we'll call and make arrangements on tow. All I need from you is a signature. I'm going to DocuSign to you a little simple document that just says you're going to repay the cost of the tow up to $100, and you'll repay it on this. How about if I put it for the Friday? It looks like you get paid biweekly. If I set it for Friday the 9th of January after Christmas, would that work for you to repay the loan on the tow?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to send a little deal. You're going to sign that, and then we'll get the tow.
Overtime or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where do you want the car to go? Because it's a mechanic of your choice. Who would you like to have do it?
I really don't know. When I did the checky thing, the mechanic or the check before, I just took it down to the local mechanic, and I really don't know him.
Okay.
But I mean, I suppose we could take it there.
Okay, that's fine. So we've got that information in the folder that tells us who that is. So I'll also call them and give them a heads up that we're going to need just an estimate on get an assessment. Sure. So one thing at a time, we'll just get the car towed. You get yourself to work today, and we'll get it over there, and then we'll just try to keep you informed about whatever that might be going on. But they'll probably communicate with you. You know, it's your car, and so it's going to be. So they'll try to reach out to you and let you know what's going on. I can't say. You just got to figure out what it's going to take to fix it. But let's get it over there and get an assessment on it, and make sure that we know what it's going to take to fix it, and then we'll both know what we're dealing with, and we can go from there.
Okay. So scene next one.
Okay.
Ring, ring, ring. I'm calling from work.
Okay.
This is Michelle. I did the car get towed to where it needed to go?
It did. Yeah. We confirmed that it got delivered about an hour ago. I don't know that they've had a chance to have a look at it yet, but you might just want to call over there. Like I said, it is your car, so you might just want to talk to them and find out, and then keep me informed. You know, get an estimate, have them get an estimate, get it to you in writing, send that over to us, and let's talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next one. Ring, ring, ring. It's Michelle.
Okay.
They said that the transmission just died, and so I'm going to need to replace the transmission on it.
Wow.
And they said it's going to be really expensive.
Okay.
And I don't have that kind of money. I mean, it's going to be hard enough for me to do the 75 after Christmas. And so I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's too much money.
Well, let me tell you, it's a tough thing, but I think the first thing we're going to want to do is get a second opinion on that. You told me this morning the car wouldn't start. So I'm not a mechanic, but I'm suspicious of the idea that, so the first thing we want to do is before we start into repairs on a transmission, we need to talk about.
But that means that, who am I going to get, another mechanic at the same shop?
No, we need to move it to another shop. We need to figure out, probably need to get an opinion from somewhere else, but just remember these repairs are going to be your responsibility. So, what we don't want to do is I'm going to try to help financially. If and you just bought the car, and typically, we need to kind of look at the whole, but just understand we're going to try to help. And one of the things we might be able to do is provide some financial help in the way of a loan on the repairs, but it's a loan to you. You got to repay the loan. So what you don't want to do is pay for repairs you didn't need, because you're going to have to be repaying this loan. And if it doesn't fix the car, that's not a good scenario for you. You're having to repay a loan. The car's still not running. So we need to figure out what is it going to take. We need to really get an opinion.
I wouldn't have bought this car if I'd known that there was going to be this problem.
No, of course. And nobody can ever know, right? With used cars. I mean, you can't know. There's no way anybody can ever guarantee, the performance of a used car. So it's tough. It's a frustrating situation. I definitely get it. It's a hard thing to have to manage, and I can appreciate it's right here before the holidays, but we're going to step in and try to help financially. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do, there's a lot of things we can do to help you. I just think the only thing that I'm going to ask you to do is remember, I'm going to need you to make sure you keep your car payments current. I'm happy to bend over backwards and help a customer who's taking care of their responsibility. So if you'll just make sure you follow through on your car payment, I'm going to do the best I can to help you on all the other stuff. We'll get through this thing, but we just need to remember, one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is make sure you keep your car payments caught up. So you got a car payment coming up on Friday. Just make sure you get that done. And I'm going to go to work. We're going to try to find somebody else to give an opinion on the car, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the idea. So Michelle's taking it hard this morning. She gets emotional about this stuff. But it is an emotional situation. And obviously we have to remember, she's just being the customer who's, unhappy and concerned. Obviously this can quickly escalate into customer getting upset, angry, and getting a little bit hostile. So, we don't have to go through that whole scenario today. This is really just about how do you navigate and how do you talk through the stuff?
And I think as a customer, that if you're really, really, I mean, you don't have to during closing talk about we'll give you loans or whatever, but you can emphasize if something does happen, that there are really a couple of things we need to make sure that you do. Is one, you need to make your payment. And if you're making your payment and you're current, we will help. We will do everything we can to help.
I don't think you have to say that at closing, because I think it should be understood. Like, and this is part of where, so I maybe just kind of throw
but how is it understood?
Because you're signing a contract and it's understood that we were going to talk about in the context of making your payments. It's expected that you're going to make your payments in full and on time. Like, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
So it's not tied to your car.
Okay.
You're not making your payment because the car is running. You're making your payment because you signed a contract and agreed to make your payment. So, so it's a separate
Then how
matter.
do you weave in the, is that a conversation you would have during a crisis like this? It's like, so just remember, we need to make the payment. As long as you're making your payment, we're going to be able to.
Yeah. And that came up with the client that we worked with yesterday. It's like, so maybe it helps to take it outside this and say, these are not things I would necessarily say to the customer. It's that I would bring to any of these kind of things. And I've even said it to managers that worked for me in the past. Like, this is kind of an extreme example, but it's something I would not say to the customer, but to a manager, I might say, look, if the documents that the customer signs, if the signature on the piece of paper means nothing, then I'm not sure I want to be in this business. You follow?
I
It's like,
do.
it's
I
like
do.
if the documents that the customer signs, if their signature on a piece of paper is meaningless, then this business is going to be really difficult. If I can't hold customers to the understandings that we agree to in writing, then I don't know that I want to be in this business. I'm happy to do my part as a dealer. I'm going to do it every time. I'm going to show up and fulfill my responsibility every time. I just ask the customer to fulfill theirs. That's the way an agreement works. It's got to be two-sided. And so if we have an understanding, I'm going to step forward as a dealer and fulfill my responsibility every single time. Now I'm asking you as a customer and the next customer, and I'm not going to ask you to do what I'm not going to ask the next customer to do. I'm going to ask all of them to fulfill the same thing. I'm going to help. I'm going to show up and help. I'm going to do more than what the documents say. I'm just asking you to do the short list of things in order to receive that help.
Which is?
Make sure you keep your payments in on time. Communicate with me. Listen. Let's talk. This is not shouting, and I'm happy to sit here and listen. Obviously, you're frustrated. I'm going to wait until you've said all you want to say, and then I'm going to step in and we're going to talk about it. And it's never an argument. It's never personal. I'm here to help, and let's just have a civil conversation. As long as we're going to have a civil conversation, I'm going to help, and we're going to work together and figure this out. Okay, there will be a resolution because I'm prepared. If I'm bringing what I call the 10-year approach, you've heard me talk about that. I'm bringing a 10-year approach to every situation like this. Then I'm looking past. We're going to get this solved. And the other language I've used with customers is, look, during the time you own this car, there won't be anything that comes up that we can't work through together. If you come and sit in that chair and talk to me, or in this case, it's phone, whatever. But if you sit in that chair and talk to me, there won't be anything that comes up that we can't get worked out together.
I remember there was a dealer you were talking about that you worked with, and he brought that up. He's like, when in closing, I say, see that chair?
Yeah.
You ever have a problem? You come and sit right there.
Yeah. And that was Tim Bates, Knoxville, Iowa. So Tim was a manager actually. And I haven't talked to Tim and that group in many years, but some of our listeners probably know Tim, but Tim was the one I don't know where he learned it, but I remember very clearly, Tim was the one I heard use that phrase, and I borrowed it ever since. And it's been 20 years ago. He said, there's not gonna be anything. Come sit in that chair. So talk to me. Like, come, let's communicate. That's about communication and face-to-face communication in his case. So that's really the idea, is that there won't be anything that we can't get through. Mechanical, job change, there won't be anything we can't get through if you'll come sit and talk to me and work with me. And so that's about communication. And again, I know in all of these conversations, I'm prepared to do my part. I'm sitting here ready to do my part. I'm going to help. I want you to show up and do your part. And this is part of what dealers wrestle with. And again, this stuff applies whether we're talking about a warranty or not, because if it's something that's not covered under warranty, that's an uncomfortable conversation. If the warranty expired a week ago, that's an uncomfortable conversation. But I know is if I'm a dealer stepping into that, I'm stepping in with to say, just because the paperwork says the warranty expired doesn't mean I'm to stop helping. I'm still here to help. I understand this
It's
is a
just not
difficult
covered under
situation.
warranty.
I'm here to
Yeah.
try to help financially.
Mhm.
But that's the thing, I think, in our business. If you got a used car dealer, take it outside of Buy Here, Pay Here for a minute. It's a used car dealer.
Mhm.
What do? They don't have the same financial motivation to help the customer after delivery like we do in a Buy Here, Pay Here environment. So now the customer has, stepped into a situation where they financed as is with us in this example. And now we've got this customer who's unhappy after the fact, but we have a financial motivation to step in and help solve that. Why? Because you just bought the car 2 weeks ago. Now you got a transmission problem. Let's just talk through the financial part in the background. So, and this is not really where I'm coming from at the time. I'm really trying to make sure I got a happy customer who's going to be with me making payments for 10 years and referring friends and family. That's my real motivation. In addition to that, behind the scenes, I recognize what's the cost, what's the value of Michelle's car if I do nothing? I do nothing. I don't offer any help. I don't get it towed. It's your problem. You work it out. You come up with the money right before Christmas and repair your own transmission. If I do nothing, I end up with that car back. And what's its value with a transmission out of it? So in loaning Michelle the money, I'm improving my own collateral.
Mhm.
And so that's really a scenario where she's going to bear financial responsibility for that. I'm going to help her all I can. I'm save money on parts. I'm going to, help maneuver it around and try to get the problem solved quickly because I know she needs the car right away. But I just know that if I do nothing, I have a financial motivation in that, not just the financial motivation of having a happy customer for a long time, but I benefit financially from getting involved. So I'm prepared to get involved. It makes all the sense in the world for me to get involved financially. What doesn't make sense to me as a dealer or a coach who's advising a dealer is it doesn't make sense for us to take all the responsibility and the customer do nothing. That doesn't work for me. And I wouldn't recommend that for any of our clients. It's like when the customer's not willing to do their part, then I'm ready to end the relationship.
And one of the things, like with some of the different clients that we have right now, and when we've coached them through similar types of things, it's like one is have a very solid, this is like what we will, what we, that this is as is.
Sure.
And you're responsible financially. I
Right.
mean, that's some very, very solid and firm, like these are the guidelines.
Right.
Be consistent in the delivery of you're not going to do for one what you wouldn't do for all.
Right.
Also the landmine of saying this is the way it is, and then 2 weeks later doing something different than what is, because then you open yourself up to it like opens all the things up. And
look, people are coming into this business and Buy Here, Pay Here from other backgrounds, and often from a customer service standpoint, you say, I have an obligation to make the customer happy. If we use that dealer's example, their first inclination was, we'll take care of it. You just bought the car 4 days ago, we'll take care of it. And I think they didn't call us at the time, so they didn't understand the landmine that they were stepping into. And that's unfortunate, because now how are you going to do that for one and not do it for everyone? And how do you ever get ahead financially?
And how do you backtrack? I mean, if you're willing to do it 2 weeks in 2 months, or in a year when something goes wrong, then there's a soft line there that the customer is already going to be expecting.
Well, yeah. And we talked about this in a prior recording about this, is like when we step, in this case, we're talking about an expensive transmission, right? But It does. Even if it's 3 days after they bought the car and it's windshield wipers or it's whatever, it's charging the air conditioner. It's like when you do that first thing, even though you told them it was as is, and now you do that first thing, you're setting that precedent. And this is where we step into this legal landmine. It's like we have created an environment. And I would say we got to also factor in our team, the attitude of our team. When we do it for one and we don't do it for another, or once you step in, you kind of
then the idea of that closing conversation of this is as is, it becomes soft. It's like,
that doesn't really mean
if something goes wrong, just give us a call.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if somebody on our team is saying that and somebody else on the team is saying something different, like that creates problems. So it's like, we're just trying to be super consistent. We're always going to be fair and consistent, right? Those are the words I use hand in hand. Going to be fair, going to do for everybody, the same.
Yeah. And it was interesting, with this whole scenario, talking to the dealer during part of this too. And there was a, at the beginning of the conversation was just like, that doesn't seem morally right.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a second here. You can still hold your line and be kind and helpful.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's the right or wrong line was drawn at closing.
Right.
And so the morally right, morally wrong, I mean, that line was drawn at closing. And, so and after having had the conversation, that it was like, I get it. It felt to him, it's like, oh, the moral thing to do is to fix the thing.
Right.
And it's like, we're not saying don't fix the thing. We're just saying it's not your responsibility, your financial responsibility.
Yeah, it's the customer's financial responsibility. You still bear some responsibility to help out, because we for all the reasons I mentioned, we have an interest in having the customer, get through this problem. So we're going to step in and help out. It's just like I say, the key thing for me is be consistent, do it the same for everyone. And like I say, the things we're talking about here really apply, regardless of what's going on with the customer. So we talked about the towing quickly. I like the idea for dealers to have a kind of a ready-made solution where they can help a customer get towed, so they can handle it. I still want the customer to accept financial responsibility for that, because, that's just not something that we should have to, it's not, unless it's in writing, well, automatically you're entitled to 2 tows a year, or what. If we put it in writing, that's one thing. But if we don't, it's not something you should pay for financially. It's something the customer should, and give them plenty of time. If I tell the customer, hey, we got to cover the $75 tow bill, but I can give you plenty of time. You heard me in that case, give them more than a month to repay it. Like, I just want you to bear responsibility for it. I don't need it right away. I can give you plenty of time. I just want you to sign saying you acknowledge that you're responsible. I want you to fulfill your financial responsibility. If you'll do that, I'm going to help you and help you and help you. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're going.
We have,
we've gone over on
that
time.
was fun.
Was it?
Yeah, I got a little teary. I mean, it just, it certainly was. And I think this recording also will be forwarding this on to, they listen anyway. So, our clients.
You think? I don't think they listen.
We only have like 8 people that ever listen.
They got to sleep and they got a car dealership to run. So I don't think they listen.
So if this resonates with you and it seems really in line with what it is that you ask your team to deliver, then feel free to share the link for this episode. Because one of the things I really enjoy about working with Jim, and when we go on site and do training, we'll go through these scenarios and he'll use all of the right language, and people just sit there and it's like, can you write that down? Yeah. Can you, that was a really great way of putting it. So, if this would be helpful with your training for your team, feel free to share this with your team.
Please.
And if there's anything else we can help with in the future, just
thanks for tuning in. We welcome your feedback. If you've got ideas for future topics, throw them out there. If you'd like to see us role play and see Michelle bring her emotion to the scene.
I can do angry too.
Oh, wow. She can do angry. Yeah.
We can do angry.
I don't know if I've ever seen her angry.
Oh, you're lucky.
Am I?
I know I don't really go, but like my children would know when I was angry, and it was like, you could just see their look on their face going, oh no, mom's mad.
Was it possible? In all seriousness, is it possible that I don't see anger because of the equity that we have in our relationship?
I think that is probably very much so the
Okay.
truth, is that because, and that's like a whole nother episode of having having equity in any relationship. When you have equity in any relationship, the difficult conversations become easier.
Right. So
And so,
people need,
we can talk about equity.
if we're a dealer and they buy into us authentically, they believe us when we tell them we're here to help. We're here to help. We're going to try to help you.
Absolutely.
Then it's going to diffuse a lot right
Absolutely. Okay. So, Friday will be December 2nd, first Friday of December. We have, we talked to some of the folks at NIADA earlier this week
You're
and
out there,
asked,
Jeremy.
I know, Jeremy.
Will you be here, Jeremy?
And they put something on Jeremy Beck's calendar for him to join us on Friday. I haven't gotten a confirmation yet, but our intent is that once a month on the first Friday of every month, we're going to try to have something. And if it's not, if it doesn't work on the first Friday, but we're going to try to do something monthly.
Jeremy Beck he's VP of
Dealer
Development for
Development.
NIADA. Fun guy. We enjoyed talking to him. I want him to come to the show Friday. Jeremy, if you're listening, I want you to be on the show Friday. I want to ask you about jalapeno strips. I want to ask you what you know about jalapeno strips. So hopefully you can join us on Friday.
Yeah. But so the reason is we're going to try to have the folks from NIADA come in once a month to talk about the things that are happening in an NIADA legislature. Some of they're going to be doing free webinars once a month, that kind of stuff. And so just kind of getting the what's happening in the world of NIADA and the world of specifically for us, the world of buy here, pay here and NIADA and how we can help.
Right.
So we're hopefully, if any of you know Jeremy, send him a message and say, hey, looking forward to seeing you on the show. Yes, exactly. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. We are so grateful that y'all join us and we're really we're happy to spend some time with y'all and help through difficult situations. And so if there's anything that you would like to hear us talk about, feel free to give us a holler.
To our listener in El Paso, buenos dias.
Yes, buenos
Feliz
dias.
Navidad.
Have a great day, guys.